final question, or one of the questions I wanted to ask you before we close, definitely was in this process. And I think what I've been able to find through reading some of your Substack and meeting and speaking to you is the growth. And I think you mentioned it to me too, where it's like you're on this journey, and this creative journey. And I think anytime anyone goes on a creative journey, you find a lot about yourself. But it's also, to me, it's a journey towards being at peace with yourself. And it's like that kind of process. Talk to me about that. What has this journey showed you? And if it is the same as I'm saying, where it's like it's moving towards peace with yourself, how is that? How is that going? How's the journey towards peace?
Oof, big question. Big question. I'm realizing that we are all a bit insane, you know? And I'm leaning into this insanity. And there are moments where I'm a bit terrified of what this insanity means. And the voices in my head and this, it feels as if a portal has been ripped open through art, through finally letting things flow out and letting the truth see light. It is strange to think how I feel like, for me, energy is not a resource that is linear. For me, it doesn't feel as if I have a battery and the battery is tick, 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 tick going down. I mean, of course, physically, like, I'm not going to survive on just like 2 biscuits and a matcha, you know, like for the rest of the day. But I think writing and my creative practice has been connecting me to that abundance of energy that we all had as children, you know, like this verve for life, this like, you can run around, you can play, you play until you like physically collapse, until your spirit and your body are like, wait a minute, we can't keep up, you need a nap, and then you have a cry and you have a nap, and then it passes, and then you can play again, you know. And so I feel like there are so many, it's almost as if there's this narrative in my head of like, oh, I'm so tired, or like, oh, I feel lazy, or oh, I can do that later. I don't want to do that. I can procrastinate it. But when energy is flowing, or when I get myself into a place where I feel like I'm on like a different plane, you know, I really do think that open mics are like this. Like, we are communicating on a different plane when we are up there reading our poems. And it's like, I just find energy there, you know, like I find, so it's almost magical, some power that I didn't realize was there. And okay, so that was I feel like I've gone on a whole tangent, but I also want to say that I think my creative practice and writing it's been me facing my fear in a lot of ways, and I've been realizing that there are obviously moments when you feel fearless and you just, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna read my poem, like but the fear being there doesn't mean I have to act on it. Doesn't mean I have to listen to it. I'll listen to the other Daisy, the poet Daisy in my head on the stage, you know, and showing up for yourself and doing that and making it into a practice, spiritual practice, emotional practice, a communal practice, you know, like me, I begin to realize that doing the things I'm afraid of 99.9% of the time doesn't lead to the catastrophic consequences that I had already mapped out in my head in vivid detail with we are just constantly writing these scripts and dialogues and building characters of people, and they're not those people. Like, they are never as horrible as we think they are. Like, we are preparing ourselves for the worst in so many ways, and it never is like that.
Yeah, I feel like that. It's a maladaptation in human beings. I feel like it's something that we learned previously, and we just can't get past that because we always have that fear of like, you know, I mean, it makes sense. You know, those are the people that survived. Those people who always doubted and didn't trust everyone. Then, you know, they survived, and so our ancestors have become that. But we don't live, I believe, we don't live in that kind of society anymore. Not to say that the society we live in is good. You know, there's so much stuff going on. But I think generally, human to human beings, connections, there's more of us that are similar and more of us that are on the same page about our values than the small group of people who just try to control us and make us think that we're all divisive. I feel like a lot of the ways that we kind of understand each other is through words, is through the language, is through writing, it's through community, like you said. You know, seeing people at the poetry open mics is always, you know, warms my heart, because it's like, out there you just ignore each other. Out there you're on the same train, but you don't even speak to each other. But here, the walls are completely broken. I'm talking to you about my deepest, why I wrote that poem, and you know, I was in this moment of complete vulnerability to a stranger, and then they received that with like grace and just like, oh, I see you, and it's like, okay, that's okay. Like nothing happened. Like I didn't burst into flames by being seen. That's okay, you know, and then you kind of feel that comfortability to do that. And I always say, the more you do it, the more you become yourself, until you get to a stage where, you know, it's like a process of self-actualization, you know, and I think it's super beautiful when you see that. Honestly, super beautiful. And I would encourage more people to do that. Yes. And on that topic then, what would you say to someone who feels like they're a writer, but isn't quite sure about this journey of being a writer, isn't quite sure about getting up on stage and performing, is a little bit scared, you know? Let's say you're speaking to Daisy before you started writing and performing.
Oh my God.
What would you say to her?
Oh my God, what would I say? Okay, I'm really going to channel.
Yes.
I'm going to channel little old university Daisy. She had blue hair, actually, fun fact. Yeah. I would say, know that, should I say it to the camera? I would say, know that you are worthy just as anybody else. And know that the people that you admire, they also started out just as a person. Started out as a person. They obviously were people. But the people that you admire, you see the end result, right? You pick up their collection of poetry, you pick up their novel. Like, you have not known what the life that they led was like to get them to this place, and how nobody picks up a pen and just churns out fucking Shakespearean sonnets. Like, you have to go through the grueling process of learning phonics, learning grammar, learning how to spell. It's baby steps. Every single day is baby steps. So as long as you are taking those baby steps, and maybe that first open mic, you do get too overwhelmed and you cannot perform, that's okay. Go next week, try again. And you fumble, that's okay. Like, you will still be 3 years ahead, and you will still be fumbling on your lines, and that is fine. And the audience claps anyway, and they love it. You know, they feel what you want to share. And think about what gets you out of bed, you know? I can't remember who said it, but there's that quote which is like, the meaning of life, quite literally, is what stops you from killing yourself this very moment.
Yeah.
And when life gets you down, when you've been beaten about and thrown around by your day, like what do you do? What brings you peace? What brings you joy? Or what even brings you catharsis, you know, to just or cry or whatever, you know? And for me, that's writing. For somebody else, it might be basketball. I don't know. And that quite literally is the meaning of life, the meaning of you continuing. It doesn't have to be the meaning of your entire life. It can just be the meaning that is given to this next hour that you're like, okay, I can continue. I can just about continue. And that is enough. I think that is enough. So yes, we veer off track, but basically what I want to say is get up there, read a poem, keep writing. And you will one day have this realization that all along you were a writer. And that is a crazy realization.
It's the truth. I think it's the truth. And I think there is so much, there's so much of that journey that needs to be discovered yourself. You know, like we can say all the things. And I always say to people, find out yourself. I can't verbalize what that journey will be like for you. I can only tell you what the feeling might be when you reach here. So yeah, find out. It's the mystery that's actually really interesting. The mystery of the people you meet along the way, the conversations you have, the words you discover by yourself on the page and go, whoa, I said this? I wrote this? Yes, that's all part of it. And so like, yeah. And honestly, Daisy, you're an incredible like writer. Like I love reading your work. Honestly, it always makes me feel something. And I think that's like element of what good writing is. Also, I love seeing you perform. So, like, every time I see you up there and you're performing, I'm just happy because I know that I'm enjoying it, the audience is enjoying it, and you're sharing a part of you which we're all kind of tapping into, kind of what I said before, that kind of like, you know, that cathartic feeling. You represent that for all of us. And it's been a pleasure sitting with you today and speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh,